Hello and welcome to the Hype Mind. My name is Daniel and this is Bear. And we're here with Lisa and John. Today we're talking about their relationship.
And that is because a while back I read this book, right? And this gentleman specialized on relationships, right? He was a relationship coach. And one of the interesting things he said, which really put something in perspective for me that I had never thought about, was when you look to what you want in a relationship, who are you modeling after? Who are you looking up to as your example, right? Are they people with good relationships? And so we decided it was necessary to do an episode of what you might want a relationship to look like, who you could role model your relationships after. And that is why we picked Lisa and John, because you guys have a stellar relationship. We want to talk about that.
All right.
That's sweet.
That's wonderful.
Let's give everybody some background. Of course, we know you
Okay.
guys. But
Okay.
you guys married pretty young.
36 years.
36 years.
36 years, 10
How-
kids.
And they're
How
only
old are you
37.
guys?
Wait,
Yeah.
let him talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, this is great.
63.
Yeah.
All the details. Just
55.
Perfect. How old
He's
are you
just
guys
gonna
when
lay
you
it
got
off.
married? How old were you?
27,
27?
19.
No, I'm not 19.
When we got married.
Oh, yes, when we got married.
Yeah.
Okay. How many grandchildren?
We have
19.
19
19
so far.
grandchildren.
And counting.
But
And
don't
now-
forget, only half are married.
Okay.
So
That's
that's why
true.
it's so low. Don't hold that against us. We
All
hope
right,
it's
well,
in
yes.
the 40s and 50s.
Well, right now.
Honestly, I always wanted 20 children. Always wanted 20 children. God only gave me 10. I have 6 in heaven, 10 on earth, 6 in heaven. And that was a deciding factor when I had a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, I want 20 kids. And they would look at me and say, bye.
They didn't
Next,
have Uber then,
I
so she'd
was
have to call her
next.
parents.
Good thing you're not in today's dating market.
Well, they didn't
No,
have
I-
Uber then, so she'd have to call her parents to pick her
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Leave her at the restaurant.
That was
As long as they paid the
my
bill.
litmus test, I would say. And then I said to him,
Okay.
he goes, well, I said, how many
Ooh.
kids do you want? He goes, I don't know. We'll start with 4, or something like, okay, I can work with that.
I
can
was
work
one
with
of
that.
4, so that
Start
worked,
with 4.
that worked for
He
me.
said-
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, I want 20 kids, or at least.
Where
whatever.
did that inspiration come from?
That inspiration
20 kids.
came a
That's pretty
long
bold.
time ago. I watched this show. It was this lady had this couple adopted 21 children,
So
all
it's cheaper by
handicapped,
the 2 dozen.
all handicapped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I just was impressed. Plus, my grandmother had 10. My grandmother had 10,
yeah.
and I was like,
Meme
I
Bear,
always
her role
my
model.
my role
Your
model
model.
was
Her
Mummy Bear. I wanted to be
role
like her.
model.
Yeah,
So while we're on role models, her role
yeah,
model.
yeah. Let's.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to get roasted for this one.
We'll get to
Oh,
yours in
boy.
a second.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Catch it in the bloopers, folks.
Okay. Yep. We'll see you in the bloopers. That's it.
Right. So now you're perfect because you got into like starting to date, right? So
Yep.
let's start from there. I
Okay.
think that's really
When we
important.
started dating,
Uh-huh.
I bought a car from him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yep. She was a little kid, so I taught her how to drive.
Well, okay. Not taught me how. I didn't know how to drive a standard. And he's like, "This car is you." You know, typical
Mhm.
salesman.
Yeah.
And this car is you. It matches your
Born
hair, or
salesman.
some silly, funny pickup line. So anyway, I said, "Well, I don't know how to drive a standard." And he says, "I'll teach you for free." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." Then we had lessons to the park, lessons out to dinner, and we had lessons. But then I thought he was just excited because of the car, and he thought I was just excited. You know, okay, that all they always do that. So we just didn't see each other for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then
And then you bought the car, so you drive in the car. And you're
my
like,
driver's seat broke.
uh,
Imagine driving a standard when your seat is like this, and you're like this and trying to shift and stuff. So I pull in, and
good for the core, you know,
Yeah.
sitting up.
totally. So
There was no extra charge for that.
So I drove in, and he says, "Well, it's not under warranty anymore." I said,
Oh.
"What will this cost me?" He
That's how
says,
they get you.
"He says this will cost you dinner."
Huh.
And I'll let you
Cheap.
cheat.
Yeah.
Pickup
Yeah.
line. Shame on me.
Cheap man.
Cheap
Good for you.
pickup line.
What does that say about me?
Yeah, right?
I
All right,
should ask
take
for
it
more.
away.
Yeah. So okay, and then how long did you guys date?
So this is where I want to stop.
This is the funny part.
Go for it. Yeah.
So, from my perspective, I had bought this house. I was 25 years old. I had more money than brains. I was in here all by myself one day, and I dropped on my knees upstairs where the lighting's not as good, so we're in our schoolroom here. But upstairs, I had a crucifix on the wall. That's all I had. I dropped on my knees in my simpleness. I said, God, all I can find on my own is bimbos. Would you please send somebody to me, and I'll take care of them forever. I'm 27, 26 at the time. I'm lonely.
Mhm.
I have a house. I have successful businesses that I own. I'll take care of whoever you send me. Just make me know it's the right one. I need your help. So in she comes. We had a rule: no dating the customers. We had a rule:
Love it. Breaking rules.
no dating
Yeah,
the
yeah.
customers. That was our rule.
But
Uh-huh.
if
So
they date you,
the only one to ever break it was me,
Well,
the owner.
what
The only one to ever
happened.
break the rule. So she came in, and I was outspoken then, not timid like now. And she had bought a car
Wait,
elsewhere,
Did you catch that?
and
yes.
she had bought a car elsewhere for $10,000 at age 18 in 1986 ish.
Yep.
And I said, well, gee, you're 18, going to college. What are you doing? So she thought I was doing a financial interview, but I was doing an interview.
Vetting.
You going? I was
You
vetting
can call
her.
it- I
So-
I was
so-
clueless.
And
I was buying a car.
isn't that what we do? We vet. We vet when we're smart. When we're not smart, we don't vet.
A
Yeah,
lot
but-
of people.
My mom.
We don't
picked
vet.
up, my mom
Subconsciously
picked
do it.
up on you. She's
So
like,
she picked up.
"Isn't he cute? I think he likes you." I'm like,
So-
"Oh, mom, he's
but there's
not."
How
So-
did your mom see
Yeah.
John? Yeah.
She was with me buying the car.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm just so much
in her
deeper than.
intuition.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah,
The
mother's
oracle.
intuition.
hey, isn't he cute? I think he likes you.
But there's so much
Like,
more
no,
to
he
deepness
doesn't.
to me than my obvious Arnold Schwarzenegger fit. There's so much more deep in depth.
That's the thing is you can't just judge a book by its cover.
No, you
That's
Even
can't.
if it's a
Perfect.
good-looking book.
So,
Don't stop there.
in fact, to that end, I bought a prop for our talk tonight.
Oh, good.
I got a prop.
Cigars?
You brought a
I
prop.
bought a prop.
Let's see.
What do you
Connecticut Lotto, the drawings tonight. Now, what
Oh my
does a
God.
lottery ticket have to do with a talk about relationships?
Absolutely
You tell us.
everything.
You tell us.
Yeah,
What does it
no
have to do?
idea.
Do tell.
Spoil at the end.
It
Wait
has-
till the-
It has
Wait, spoiler alert.
it has
Cliffhanger.
everything.
Yay! No.
Everything to
Mhm.
do with relationships. There's a 1 in 39% chance that this $1 ticket will become 2. 1 in 39. And there's a 1 in 7 million chance that I'll hit the big jackpot. I don't even know what that means because I don't play lottery. But
you
there's a
just-
1 in 7 million. Can you imagine the stupidity of my generation stumbling through life thinking a relationship was a lottery ticket? Can you just imagine the stupidity of my generation that we've imparted on you? You're not even to blame. You're not even culpable. It's my generation that blew it. Stumbling through life saying I can find a girlfriend without God. I can find a girlfriend without God. And then the priest is going to look at me at my wedding day and go, husbands, love your wives like Christ loves the church. And I'm going to stand there in all my eloquent ignorance and go, that's so beautiful. Christ is nailed to the cross. I guess that means I better be willing to
You got to look good on wood.
ante up, right?
Yeah.
I better be able to
Mhm.
ante up. So in my simpleness in prayer, God sent me Lisa. Now,
Thank you.
where you were in your talk, we met, we dated 2 weeks, and I bought her a ring.
2 weeks. That answers your question.
weeks.
And 33 years?
36 years
36
later.
years later.
So
So-
we dated 2 weeks, and then everybody meaning our parents and
Uh-huh.
siblings, and like, oh my gosh, 2
Everyone
weeks.
with what
Do
they
you
call
even know
common.
him?
Common sense.
And this
And-
was the
Wait,
late
okay.
80s.
And then what was
Yes.
going
Yeah.
through your head, and what was going through your head?
So
Because
Well, he doesn't remember.
you were getting you were getting some feedback from your parents
I
and
was-
friends.
Well, here's the thing. In that 2 weeks, I was like what you're doing. I was interviewing him. He says he
Mhm.
was interviewing me, but I was also I had this list, this mental list.
20
like-
children.
Yeah, 20 children. Well, that was somewhere in the middle. Number one is he has to be a practicing Catholic. I asked him, can I tell him?
yeah,
Okay. I asked, "Are you Catholic?" He says, "I'm religious in my own way." And I
What
said,
the heck
Wait
does
a
that
minute!
mean?
and I said, and I literally said, "What does that mean? What does that mean?"
Smart
So-
girl.
Well, it hasn't changed much now.
I'm
'cause
like,
now
okay,
it's time spiritual.
I had to teach him about his faith because apparently
Ah.
there was something missing there. Okay.
Elevator had not quite gone to the
Mhm.
top.
Well, you gotta build yourself
So,
up. It's a
Yeah.
process. Life's
I
all
said,
about-
"Okay, dude, if you're gonna date me, the first thing I'm doing is dragging him to confession." What's confession? So, taught him the act of contrition, gave him a quick.
Mm.
I mean, he was baptized Catholic. You did receive confirmation, but since confirmation, he said it was 15 years since his last confession. I'm like, how do you live with 15 years?
An
Anyway.
exemplary life.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a
I'm
sales
busy.
rep.
But
So-
yeah, he's
so-
busy.
So he
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
wasn't
In the
your
car business.
criteria.
No, I figured I could work with this guy. I'll work
Oh,
with
so-
that. I
okay. He was
mean,
a
Well,
sponsor.
but you make a good point because you know what? The fact of the matter is, anywhere in life, whether it's a potential relationship or a friend or whatever, you're going to meet people who aren't, your ideal image of a friend or a relationship, and you have
Yeah.
to compromise a little.
what are
bit.
you willing
You
to
have to-
work with?
yeah, you have to-
Yeah.
You have to negotiate.
She,
Yeah.
Mhm.
to her credit,
Try to
saw a
move in
diamond in the
Get in
rough.
there.
She saw a diamond in the rough. And I saw,
And she added pressure.
and I saw
Okay,
what
that's a
I
good
had
one.
prayed for in my infinite simpleness of faith. So she saw a diamond in the rough, and I saw what I prayed for. And then, honestly, from the relationship standpoint, as long as we were honest and we were willing to make those choices, those lifelong choices,
Mm-hmm.
till we death do us part, then isn't that really what we're all called to do?
Mm.
Like this lottery ticket. I don't know every number, every one in Connecticut. I didn't run it on a computer program and buy this number because this number never came in. It's more apt to. I didn't do that. And just like
Okay.
with our relationship, I knew what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I like that point too.
I knew what I wanted. Her father, who's a very intelligent man, said 1 year, 1 year. And then we met in the middle, 6 months.
Well, the church makes you
Mhm.
wait 6 months.
You
Right.
So like
Oh, so after being engaged.
we got engaged August.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like January, we're getting married.
So
That's it.
2 weeks dating.
Yep, 6 months.
6 months.
engagement.
But you guys
36
also met
years
before
married.
you started seriously dating.
Yes, but that wasn't really dating. We were
Uh-huh,
just
right.
getting to know.
Acquaintances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned
But it was
two
about
really
the car, really.
important points. The first was, I'd love you to talk more on this. You were like, honesty, right? It was one of the most just
Honesty.
of all the words that stood out. That one stood
Honesty.
out. It's a fundamental, is what you're saying. In your
Honesty is
belief.
the fundamental for you to make a lifelong commitment to anybody.
Mm.
You need to know that they're telling the truth.
Listen up, people.
You need to know that they're telling the truth.
And you know that if you're telling the truth.
And they need to know if you're telling the truth. Because if you lie, you're lying to God. It's a sacrament, one of the 7
Mm.
sacraments, marriage. It's not to be taken lightheartedly. In good times and bad, they'll come. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of not so fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had 10 wonderful kids. She homeschooled all of them. She wanted to keep them out of the world. You know,
It's hard.
We had 6
As
miscarriages.
you know, you both
Not
know.
so fun.
A little bit,
Right.
yeah.
It's a little
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's something else I want to talk about too. That, but before we say that, I like your point. You're like, I knew what I wanted.
Mhm.
I knew what I wanted.
That's really.
Well, I want to
critical.
jump to that. So, what kind of made you know what you want? Like, I know your faith was
Faith
part
was
of
the
that.
most important to me.
right.
It was an immature faith then. We're now, as my age, and we're professed third order, and my faith is more mature. It was an
We
immature
basically
faith.
grew together.
We grew together.
We grew
Right.
together.
We grew together, but it was all about the initial honesty. I knew what I wanted. It wasn't random.
Right.
Like
Like a lottery
it
ticket.
wasn't a
Yeah.
lottery.
Well,
I knew
and-
what I wanted. I had a checklist.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
had a
important.
checklist, and whoever I marry had to meet every one of every
Mhm.
check.
Can
Well,
you walk us a
and
little bit through what those checks?
But if you
Sure.
play it like it's a lottery, like you've been saying, I think, if I understand you correctly, then yeah, you're gonna have a 1 in 7 billion chance. Like it's not possible. So stop
1 in
playing it
7
like it's a
million for the
lottery.
big,
Yeah.
the big grand prize.
Right.
Well,
But
1 in
instead of playing it
39
like
for a
lottery,
$2 win.
to answer your question,
A
what does
$2.
that checklist look like? I sat him up on his couch. This house, and it was the first time he pretended. Thinking of honesty, pretended it was someone else's house because he
Yeah.
didn't want me to think.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I see he reads my mind. So I had this list, and I said, okay, just so you know, I'm gonna get married someday, and I want kids. I don't believe in divorce. I don't believe in abortion or contraception or anything. I laid it down, and he just sat there like,
First date.
whoa.
First date.
First date, and
Now,
he's like, whoa.
In my generation, and I'm sure
I feel like I'm getting the 3rd degree. That's what he said.
yeah,
And
Ring
then I
out the
left,
bell.
and you know what he tells his buddy? He says, I'm going to marry that girl.
I'm gonna marry them.
well, I think that's actually a
Oh.
lot of guys will do that because they'll know. They won't
Yeah,
say
it's
it.
like-
They might say it to
Yeah.
their buddy, but they'll be like, "That's the girl, dude.
Yep.
That's the girl."
I'm going to marry that girl.
I'm gonna marry that girl. They may kick the goat a little bit and not wanna,
Right. Right.
Hmm.
or fight it, or
Commitment.
I'm not ready.
Yeah.
What? Well, what are you afraid of? Well,
Just-
like I'm gonna have to, support him.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have to, you're gonna have to what? You're gonna have to die to yourself to make sacrificial, offerings to God through a family and raise children in the likeness and image of God and bring them to heaven along with your wife while you do without.
Right.
Do without. What does that even mean? To have somebody love you, you do without material things in some cases.
Oh, the kids will take care of that for you.
Yeah.
We'll get to that
You know,
later.
so-
Yeah.
So we have
Let's get to
36 years
I'll get to that later.
of we didn't really do without.
Well, and one of the things you brought up when you're talking about your checklist that I loved, because I like to talk about some of these specifics that really need to be heard right now in the current status of society, right?
Oh.
You were like, divorce
Mhm.
is a
No.
no-go.
Not an
Period,
option.
right?
Nope, I don't
No,
believe
not
in
an option.
divorce. I don't believe in abortion or contraception.
And I've heard this said before. If you go into a relationship believing you can walk out, then you're going to walk out. It's not going to work.
That's
Yeah.
not a
You can't-
relationship.
Well,
It's
yeah,
not.
That's an even better way to do it.
Like you're a hiker, right?
Right.
I've seen your things. You hike Alaska.
I show him.
Can
your
you
pictures, by
imagine?
the way.
She showed me your stuff.
Because
These are the guys.
we
this-
live vicariously, like, oh, I
Yeah.
would love to hike those mountains.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, but we can't.
I'll take more pictures for you. Next time I'll send
Yeah.
a postcard. Oh
Send
my gosh.
But can you
Oh,
imagine,
please.
just for a minute, you're
I
gonna
love
go
the
out on a
mountains.
hike. You're gonna go on like a walkabout with no map, and you're just gonna keep walking that way. And at some point, you're gonna go, huh? I guess when you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all
But
well
where's
and good.
there?
Huh.
Yeah. Where is there?
How do you get back?
Yeah.
So like, and I think that's what relationships are. If you don't have a map, then like I just bought a new car, and I got an owner's manual,
Right.
and in the owner's manual it says, put gas in there. Well, what if I want to put water?
Mhm.
It's not going to work. Like you have to follow
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the rules.
Well, and even I
Yeah.
want to build on your metaphor here
Yeah.
because if you go hiking without any destination or a map, right, where the heck are you going to go? But even more, if you go hiking with the idea that it's okay to quit in the middle of your hike, then you're going to quit and you're not even going to go nowhere. You're
Yeah.
you're,
And the bears
you're
will
going to
eat
go
you.
home.
And the bears will eat your
Yeah,
life.
Yeah.
And you'll be all by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What I noticed is you really saw it from a place of reality.
I saw it from a place of reality.
Yeah.
From a very real place.
But there's there's a lot of people who don't want to live in reality. What would you
What do I tell
not the
them?
what would you say to that? Yeah.
It's
Don't
not the
get
most
married.
comfortable thing to
Don't
do.
get
Well, there you
You don't
go.
want to live in a reality.
Don't
Stay
destroy
single.
somebody else's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stumble through your own life.
Yeah.
Don't get married, and then one day, whoop, I could add a V8. You know what I mean?
Are you guys too young for that? Do you remember that?
Is that commercial?
No, but I can laugh at it
That's
because I
over.
love engines.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
cars, so it's
It
fun.
used to be. It used to be an ad in my day. Oh, there's a lot of stupid ads in my day where you specialized them.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the average person, they stumble through life and then they get married. Well, why'd you guys get married? Oh, well, she was pretty. Well, I think everybody's pretty, and then when they get old, they
Yeah, then you
change.
have
pretty
kids and you get
anymore.
fat.
You
That's
know,
what happens.
Yeah. I mean, dad bod, like what the hell?
10 kids later,
Well,
and
Margaret
I'm
the
100
Schwarzenegger
pounds
doesn't
more
know
than I
anything about that.
was.
No.
You know?
How would he know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how would you?
It does
Right.
lose fine.
All right, this is really good. But let's move on to
Okay.
what like okay, now you started a relationship.
Yep.
Right. What were the struggles you faced? What did you learn along the way as you were starting to
Was it easy?
Oh gosh, no.
get
I mean,
together? And,
dude, it's normal.
Yeah.
We're normal. Don't get some
Uh,
highfalutin thing that we're
Mhm.
just saints. We're not. Just
Mhm.
saying.
Right.
See,
you've had
here's
your
what
We've
struggles.
happens.
been
You still have
through
your
a
struggles.
lot. We've
Yeah.
been through so much. I mean, premature
well,
babies.
here's what
and-
happens. This is the advice
Yeah.
for the world, for the youth.
Yeah.
We have 10 kids.
Yeah.
So what happens is the human person is in constant reinventing themselves mode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Constantly
That's a good word.
reinventing
Yep.
I like
mode.
Yep.
Like I retired 18 months ago. I've had to reinvent myself.
Yep.
I've
Yeah,
gone
like
from
you
waking
would
up
do.
every day, praying a rosary to go to work, working, coming home, and the house was run by the queen of the house.
Right.
Now I'm in the way sometimes with the queen of the house.
Oh,
I don't mean
yeah.
in a bad way, but I have to reinvent myself. Wait a minute, I can't just go in there like a bull in a china shop.
Let me tell you
You know?
something. Can I get real for
You
a
got to
quick sec?
reinvent yourself.
When I was still homeschooling, and he was freshly retired, and he thinks it's his license to just chase me around the house all day long. Like, look, go get a hobby.
Yeah, he's
Because I
bringing
have
back
to
his
do
youth,
this,
you
like,
know?
so we
Yeah,
both have
hobby.
to reinvent
Wait.
our, yeah, like
Retirement
what?
does not mean
He's-
honeymoon.
He's a young pup
That's
again,
what,
you know?
that's what he thinks. Yeah.
Your relationship has been so successful that it's like it's been day one on year 36.
Sometimes
Every
he's
day
like,
is day one.
on
It's
the
a holiday.
there was one time that I was so busy and he was getting frustrated. He's like, all right, that's it. I got a weekend over here away from the kids. We got your mother to watch the kids. We're going out. And he whisked me off for the weekend. And it was like the one at Under Mountain Inn. That
Yeah.
one. Remember that?
Well, so as we
Well, he has to
reinvent
say
ourselves.
So
you're
he
right.
has to kidnap me to get
So
away
as we
from that.
reinvent ourselves, and I
Yeah.
think this is where we all fall down, like my generation, your generation, the generation before us, the generations yet to come. I think what happens is they go into a relationship and they don't really think about it. What is the long-reaching ramification? What is really going on here?
Mm-hmm. You have to have an end goal.
You have to have an end goal,
Yes.
but there's a what's your 1-year plan? What's your 2-year plan? What's your 5-year plan?
I
What's
have an angle.
your 20-year plan? What is your
Share that in a
plan
second.
when someday you're sickly? Will this person lift up my head and spoon feed me when I'm drooling on my deathbed? Yes. Yes.
Right.
Do you know what the end goal is?
Heaven.
To help each other get to heaven.
Right.
That's the end goal.
That's the end goal.
Mhm.
Will this person help you get to heaven?
That
Yes or no?
should be your first question when you're dating.
Was it your first question?
I wanted to know right away.
It was mine.
Is this person gonna get me to heaven?
I went to God in my simpleness of prayer.
Right.
I wasn't some eloquent biblical scholar, but God will take the simple-hearted that have sincere beliefs. God, all I can find on my own is bimbos. Give me somebody that wants to spend a life with me and will
he
love
says,
me
I just want
for
somebody
me,
who will
love me
as
for
much-
me,
Yeah.
and be there for me, and that's what's missing in our society. It's not taught to the kids. Then the kids are stumbling through the world trying to find each other, and they don't even know what they want.
Or find
Right.
themselves.
And then
Their own
everything is
identity.
random.
Yeah, they don't know who they are. They
She's
don't know
pretty.
who they are. Right.
She's pretty. She likes to slam down tequila sunrises and at the bar. In my generation.
Come on, baby, let's get hitched.
In my generation, there was an old saying. Meet your bride at the altar. in my generation, that was a thing. Meet your spouse.
Meet your bride at the altar.
Meet your spouse at the altar. Okay, yeah, on the wedding day, but there's more than that. Like there's 3 people: husband, wife, and God. And if you don't invite God in, don't be surprised if it's a godless relationship.
Right.
Don't be surprised.
No
Whether it's a friendship,
spirit, no.
a
nothing.
dating, a marriage, whatever it might be, your place of employment. Bring goodness to your work environment. I don't mean stand up and with your plaid shirt, the end is
Preaching,
near,
the
and
end is near.
like the end is near. I don't mean that, but in all things we do, especially relationships with each other, with our wives, children,
Mm-hmm.
it's all so important.
And we have a lot to learn too. You
Oh,
think, okay, at
right,
your age,
right.
you've learned it all. No,
Right.
No,
we're still learning. Like, I'll give you an example. We have 10. The first 5 will tell me that I'm much softer with the younger 5 than I was with the older 5
Right.
because we're still learning.
Right.
You
plus
know,
we're closer
learning
to the
how to be-
end. We want to be nice.
Yes,
That's what time is limited.
That's right.
It's
Just
a
like-
limited
what
time
does Bill
deal.
Cosby said?
Warranties
That is
almost
not
up.
my mother. That's just an old person trying to get to heaven now.
It's like the used car warranties are gonna
That's not
expire.
Good. That's good.
Oh my gosh.
So, but relationships are everything. It's a serious. Now we're making light of it, and I apologize. You probably want to be serious.
Well, we have had a
But-
couple
Together,
tequila
John.
sunrises, to be fair.
Yeah,
so.
all right. Well, beautiful. But
Yeah.
but in all seriousness, there's nothing more important than a relationship. If you're entered into a godless relationship that you don't believe the person will take you to heaven and will be there when you die, run, run.
Or you
Pay
get
for a
some
taxi home for them.
Yeah.
Run,
some pretty bikini girl, and
Oh.
but you know what?
run.
Is she a godly person? Is she going to help you get to heaven?
Yeah,
Think about it.
that's what
Right.
matters.
Right.
The most
know,
important
that's
She
thing.
gonna help you get to
temporary.
that end goal.
Mhm.
That person may lose all her hair. That person may, and then you have to really love the person inside because
Right.
looks change. Okay, I don't care who you are. Looks change. Except him, he's the same.
Same big head, no neck.
He's
Stocky
exactly the same as when I married him. So
But think
actually,
about
looks cuter with gray hair, though. I know.
So-
It's
so
that
we-
silver fox.
That's
thing
an
going
acquired
on.
taste.
Yes, it's acquired taste. Yeah,
It is.
I know some people like pure alum, but that's what you put in pickles
Honestly, I
to make
think
it
it's
have a
kinda
little
cute.
butter bite. But
Twirling.
yeah, pure. But really, relationship. So let's talk about the relationship. My relationship with God was first.
Right. Right.
And how could I have a relationship with Lisa if I didn't have a relationship with God? Okay? My relationship, let me back up. The relationship that a woman has with her family is the relationship that will be broadcast over you and your family. It's simple. She loves her parents. She'd do anything for them. And you know what? It's not surprising that my relationship with her is the same. Right? It's like
Isn't that
There's the
old
blueprint.
saying,
It's-
the way a woman treats her father is how she'll treat her
Her
husband,
her husband.
and the way a man
Oh,
treats
yeah.
his mother is the way he'll treat you.
when you're young, like when I was young, it's all stupid cliches. Then when you get old, you go, wow.
It's
there's
like
a
so
little
true.
merit.
Well, that's why it's
little merit
to
to it.
Cliche.
It's
Yeah.
a cliche. There's a little merit.
So if
to
you
that.
see that woman really respecting her father, then it's
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah, that's
Well, yeah.
it's a
They,
good
they
sign.
always say you gotta
Very
look
good
at
sign.
you gotta look at the other person's relationship with their, like
You
you
have
said,
to.
father, mother.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, and
absolutely.
even then, there's that old saying, like you
Their
have
parents and their friends too would help too, but
Yeah.
mainly it's the relationship they have with the opposite sex of their
Lineage.
parent.
Their lineage.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and
true.
one of the things you also you were talking about your relationship with God, right, and how that was first and foremost.
first and foremost.
And I would bet that enables you to have an even better relationship with yourself,
yes,
which means you can have an even better relationship with someone else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
yes.
so
Right,
he-
yeah,
I
that is
know you
important.
have to have
Right,
a
you
good
have to,
relationship
absolutely.
with yourself
Mhm.
Right.
to have one with someone else.
Right.
I know who I am,
Right.
so
Right.
I'm able to share that with someone.
Yeah.
Like in her case, I mean, I'm an acquired taste. Everybody knows that. But in her case, she wanted that.
Right.
You know, so that other old
She had to beat
cliche.
a couple women off you with
See,
a broom. But
No,
you know.
I don't think so.
It's
When many things I am, but somebody
the
that the
thing
women were chasing is
that
not one of them.
attracted me about John was his sense of humor. Okay,
I'm totally serious.
Totally
Yeah.
serious.
Nobody's laughed once.
And then when we, surprised him on that day, while we're still buying the car, back to the car thing, we brought him a lasagna just because, like a thank you.
Right.
You wanna go
lasagna.
back there?
And he
Wow.
said,
And then-
"You want to go? You
Real
want to
quick.
go out with me?"
Just no, you know what he said? He's eating lasagna. Oh, this is good lasagna. He goes, I think I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah, that was a big
Like-
move.
What?
Big move.
I've never
Yeah,
heard that
The rule
before.
is no dating the customers.
No dating
Until
the
the boss
customers.
changes it.
My rule.
You broke
Yeah.
the rule.
The only guy to ever break the rule is me.
Well, the only guy who breaks the rules is the
Uh-huh.
guy who makes them.
That's it. That's it.
So,
True.
Yeah, but I got back at
You're
him.
just
He
making
bought,
new
I bought a
rules.
car from him, but he got stuck with the payment.
well, and
First car loan I ever
Smart.
had.
Oh man. So yeah,
That's what-
he comes up to you and he says, "Buy this car," and you go, "I can't drive manually." He says, "I'll teach you." And you thought he was joking. He goes, "I was being real."
Yeah.
So there's the
Yeah.
side that you thought he was being humorous, and you're like, "No, I've been real the whole time."
never
This
saw
whole
him
time,
being
it's
real.
just your perception.
I know.
He's not even a funny guy.
I was
Yeah.
also naive and dingy, and I don't.
But it was
It pays to be naive.
not
is
much.
that what you're saying?
Not much changed.
no, but it's the
But you've
seriousness.
got good leadership.
Yes,
The seriousness
that's
of
true.
it
Because
is-
where I fail, he believe it or not, he is my rock. Even though he's funny and cute and everything,
I
but
like that.
it's like
I like that because we were talking about the relationship with your father, right? And when you get married, your relationship transfers
Right.
from your father to your husband.
so
If
he
you're
is
doing it
my
right.
rock. I mean, he holds me up when I'm falling to pieces.
Right.
Like there's many times that I just crumble, and he's the one that lifts me up.
You know, there's another old cliche.
No, I
in
love
it.
that. There was a
Go ahead. No, don't be.
but there was a post that you posted a while ago, and it was you were talking, or who was talking to who? Something about eating healthy, right? It was you're talking to your daughter,
Okay.
or you were talking to your daughter Bernadette, and you were
I'm
like,
a
make
picture
sure,
of
And
healthy,
like-
so I mean, there's no surprise there.
make sure mom eats healthy,
Yeah.
right? When I die,
Oh,
and then you
yeah.
responded, right? And I was just, that's beautiful right there, because you're taking care of her, and you're
Yeah.
Even after he said, "Make sure mom eats healthy." I
Yeah.
eat healthy.
Right.
What did he say? I forgot.
A lot of times I see the,
Yeah.
the reverse of like the husband, not so much of the rock, like even every aspect does not do the laundry.
He's
right?
even
Does not
said-
cook or anything.
Why
He's even
is that?
said, like,
Why is that?
If I die, you're gonna just like starve to death. I'm like, no, I'm not, because he likes to cook.
Well, that's what I
He
call
took over the cooking. He loves
taking
to
the
cook.
direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Why?
yes.
Why is that? Go, please.
All right, so let's just look. So God came through a woman into a family to show us the way, right? God is God, and then what we have is an attack on the family now. The emasculization of men,
Right.
Mm.
and the old cliche to coin another one. You have a daughter for life. You have a son till he finds a wife,
Mhm.
and then the woman leans on the man to be her rock.
Right.
What
His
happens
place is
if we
the top.
create a generation of not rocks but pebbles?
Well, I actually was just reading about that the other day. And
Oh.
you know who becomes the father?
tell me about that.
You know who becomes the father?
The mother or the child?
The government.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
And then
Yeah, the
you're in
Hitler
trouble.
Youth.
Oh.
Yes,
The
exactly.
Hitler Youth.
Then
Look
We're
at
not
them.
going there.
We're not going there.
No.
We could go. That's a
That'll be another
episode.
We're just gonna stick to
That's
relationships.
episode 6.
Yes.
But
You
He just
right.
went there. He just-
The wife does assume the leadership role, the a lot of the masculine qualities, which people want to say is non-existent. Is everybody's equal, but I couldn't have agreed more when I read it. The actual father is the government,
Yeah.
and that's very dangerous.
It's
because
very
then
dangerous.
who provides leadership to your children?
Right.
The government.
The government.
Would
right.
you actually trust the government?
The Hitler Youth. Yeah.
So,
I-
but yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
get
that's
off topic
episode
with that.
650.
Yeah, that's just down the road.
June 2027.
Hence, we
Be there.
homeschool.
No,
We'll spare some people that.
but yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, there's the heart of the home and the head of the home.
Mhm.
Did you see the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
No, I've
Yeah.
heard it's great
Okay,
though.
so
Yeah.
one quote I love in there, well, the man is the head of the house. Yes, but the woman is the neck,
The neck.
and she can steer the man.
Yeah.
Turn the head wherever
I
she
laugh every
wants.
time I watch
It's
that movie.
true.
It's to steer the neck. So the
Oh.
heart of the home,
Or like Nefertiri. It's
Yeah.
like, woman has the power to soften a man's heart
Or
harden it.
Yeah.
It's
so
true.
women
It's
have
true, yeah.
more. Women, they
Yeah.
want to have power. They have more power than a man.
Yeah.
A woman's
You just
beauty.
you just have to be okay with the power you've been given and apply it. the way
Apply
you're
it
supposed to.
properly.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
Mm.
abusively,
Right.
properly.
Well, and
know?
that's something we just talked about in one of our last
Mhm.
episodes was that power dynamic between men and women, right? Women are born with power. They're
Oh.
beautiful, they're youthful.
Their
they
power
are
is
fertile.
greater.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And they can, like you're saying, they ultimately they control the man in the relation. Not
Yeah.
yeah,
The
like
neck.
they
Heart of the
yes,
home and their
exactly.
softness.
Yeah.
Versus the head
Mhm.
of the home.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing. I don't know.
They're just different dynamics. That
It's a different dynamic,
interplay.
but neither one is secondary because they're
Right.
both needed.
Right. Well, and that's another thing is right. What is the world? The world is chaos and order, right?
Right.
It's a very common theme, right? But you can't get rid of one without getting rid of the other.
No.
And even better, I just read it the other day that it's a
You're
quote,
well read.
and you're very punny. It's a
Well-versed.
common quote, right? What you do to one gender, you do to the other. What you do to men, you do to women equally.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
we are complementary.
Yeah.
You can't just
Mutually complementary by
change
God's
one
design.
without damaging the other.
Right.
Absolutely.
In the Garden of Eden, God said this is good for the man to be alone.
Right.
Let us make woman from his side to be with him,
Right.
to be part of him, to be by
Right.
his
Side by side, right.
Side by side. It wasn't like Archie Bunker,
I
real
knew
episode.
he's going there with this.
To Edith, well, he took Eve from Adam's rib, a cheaper cut of meat. That is not true. But our society
Well, they do say
Believe-
that.
believes
Cheaper
it.
cut of
Yeah.
meat.
and that's the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's why Archie Bunker said it. Because in his comedic
It
method,
was a mockery.
it's a
Of
mockery
silly
of
ideas.
God.
Yeah.
It's a mockery of God. Woman was made from God's side to be with him.
Oh, see, I thought it was a mockery of a silly belief of society.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head when you say that. It is a mockery of society.
He's saying you're being stupid for believing that women are
Yeah.
less because they're from the side of
Right.
man. Right.
They're not less.
Right.
They're greater because they're flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone.
Right.
It's not good
A
for the
helpmate,
man to
not a
be
slave.
alone.
So
Right.
what would you say? I have a question for you too, Lisa. But John, what would you say to men who are emasculated or who feel lost, who have no direction? What would you tell them?
Grab a rosary, go to a church in adoration, and pray before God.
What about people who don't believe in God?
Well, I don't know what to tell them because if you don't believe in God,
Mm-hmm.
what's left?
I like that answer.
What's left? I don't believe in
They
God.
have like those hikers
And that's
with no
why
direction,
one of the
with
things
no
I
map.
tell
How
a lot of
can
people is
ya-
look. If you don't know, then you need to look. You need to be
Yeah.
sure you know
God
you're doing the right
is-
thing.
We know
So-
a lot of people who are godless, walking
Right.
around with and going from girlfriend to girlfriend to girlfriend.
Bad
they
to
have
worse.
no
No
Well,
sense of
I've met a lot
direction.
of men and women, right? And they are agnostic or they're atheist, right?
Mm.
But they've never and plenty of people who do believe in God who haven't done the same thing, but they haven't actually looked for the evidence of their beliefs to make sure that they're on solid ground.
Because
right?
they're not there.
Right. Well, that too, but there's a lot of people who are very religious or believe in God. You need to make sure your belief is solid too. You need to know why you believe in God. You need to, obviously if you look, you're going to find it. But like the same thing goes for a Catholic or anybody.
Mm.
If you believe in God,
You
make
have to
sure
row in
know
the
why you
same
believe in God.
direction.
Right. Do the work. Make sure you know your belief is on a rock. And if you don't believe in God, look into how you know God doesn't exist. And
I can't even imagine
all the
somebody who
arguments.
believes there's no such thing as God. I laugh.
Well, you live in a
because
society.
we homeschool, I'm always looking for stupid things to like counteract as they come at us.
Uh-huh.
Because it comes at us through
But that's
friends.
it. You're looking for the opposing
We're looking
side.
for the opposing side.
Yeah.
Constantly.
There's
You
this
need
great
to look
book.
for the opposing side. You
And it
can't just
sneaks
look
up
at your
on
side.
you. That it comes from outside influence to influence your children.
Well, that's how darkness
Yes,
operates.
and
Yes.
it's like a
Yeah.
prowling monster trying to devour your children. So
You know,
we're
what-
always on the lookout.
What is
blocking
darkness?
this and blocking that, kind of like
What is darkness? A priest friend of mine told me this once. Because, I'm like, Father, how do I tell my kids evil versus good, darkness? So he says it's so simple. If the world would embrace it, they could sit back and believe. I'm like, okay. Seems easy enough.
What does
Why
that
don't
mean?
you tell me?
Right.
I'll go with that. Okay, so John, you know what heat is, right? I said, yeah, I know what heat is. You know what cold is, right? Well, yeah, it's cold. No, it's the absence of heat. It's not what it is, it's what it is not.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
if God is all goodness
Yep.
and ultimate evil, what is that? It's not a thing, it's what it's not.
Right.
It has no goodness.
It's the lack of your best.
It's the lack of goodness
Yeah. Absence of goodness.
to the abyss of no goodness.
Right.
It's such a lack, it doesn't exist. Goodness is gone.
Right.
So if God is ultimate goodness, then the other side is ultimate abyss.
Right.
So, there was a book years ago, we got in this discussion with some of the homeschools and some of the non-homeschool friends about evolution. And, Darwin, as you know, denounced his own belief before he died. But it's interesting in this book,
Perfect.
it's animals that could not have evolved. It's a book of animals that could not have evolved. I love this book. I can't tell you the name, and you're well read. You'd read the whole thing on your way home tonight. But
How do you know I haven't already?
you probably did. And then you're going to tell me something like, wow, that kid's well read.
I'm just waiting.
But or that man is well read, whatever the terms are. But here,
I don't have any pronouns.
you don't have, I don't either. Mister.
Can I say that
What you see
I
is what you get.
identify as a cat?
Yeah, right. Meow. So there's this woodpecker in this book,
Uh-huh.
and it's fascinating. So this woodpecker pecks wood,
Right.
and it wants to get the bug in there.
Mhm.
So when it thinks it gets to the depth where the bug is, the tongue comes out of the back of its head and goes through a cannula down its head and changes an enzyme in the tongue, goes out the beak. Now it's sticky. It
Mhm.
grabs the bug, it pulls it in, and while it's pecking for more, it chews it up. Can you
Wow.
imagine how many woodpeckers must have starved to death with a tongue coming out of the back of their head between one evolved
Before
to the
they
point where there was a
evolved.
cannula that changed to an enzyme to come out its beak to pick up the bug?
Yeah.
How many woodpeckers in an evolutionary mentality, which is godless, there's no creator in that, how many woodpeckers must have died starving to death with a tongue coming out of the back of their head? Can you just imagine? So it's the
So we went from
demasculation of men is like saying men have evolved into women. We watched this wonderful video the other day.
Wow.
It's a little 4-year-old kid, and she's talking in the video, and I learned from this little 4-year-old kid in the video, a little 4-year-old kid. Yeah, the only bone in the human body that's different between men and women is the hips. The only bone. Pelvis. Well, the hips.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a guy. Hips.
He knows where he's
It's a
looking.
word. It's a real word.
Somewhere.
But it's a real thing. 63 years
I can
old. I
put him
didn't
on a
know
Scrabble
that.
board.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So what would you tell these men?
Okay,
Have
check
we-
out your hips. What do you got there, big fella? You know what I'm saying? What do you tell them? They're not a woman.
Oh,
You can
right.
pretend. I can identify as a chicken. It doesn't mean I'm going to lay an egg. Come on. She's kidding. She identifies as a
I
cow.
think you're going back to living in reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome.
We won't
To
feed into
reality.
the
Yeah.
delusion.
I won't even.
Yeah.
It's such a delusion.
Yeah.
It's not even really
This
funny.
society's messed up.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Messed up. And it all comes down to our relationship with God, our relationship with each other, and
Mm.
where we're going.
Right.
And if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
And that's what you
And-
see
and,
right now
yeah,
in society.
there
This
is no
this may be a $2 winner, it may be a loser. But let's be honest, this is random. This is chance.
Yeah.
And when people say to me, John, you're really lucky. You got such a nice wife. I prefer the term blessed.
Mm.
I'm not lucky. There's no randomness.
Right.
I didn't say, "Wow, I like her hair. I think I'm going to marry that
You
girl."
picked the direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
You went
So
there.
I had a menu when I went to the restaurant. It was all a la carte
Oh, wasn't this the metaphor you were just using the other day?
What's that?
menu.
Yeah. You go to the restaurant,
Oh.
having a menu.
Oh,
and
yeah,
being
yeah,
able to-
yeah.
yeah.
There's a menu of life, and you can check them off.
What would you order?
What'd you order?
On that menu.
Yes, on
Yeah.
that menu, what would you order?
Uh-huh. What are the? Well, give me the choices.
Well, no, you come up with a choice.
God, godless.
On your checklist, on your menu.
There we go. I like how you think because it's very simple.
Well,
God.
that's
One or the other.
godless.
Godless.
Right.
Then you get to the end of your life. Smoking,
Non-smoking. He gets it.
God,
Uh-huh.
godless.
He totally gets it.
Non-smoking, smoking.
It's
And you
simple.
say to yourself, my life, it's my life. I want to enjoy my life. Your life is so short.
Mm-hmm.
What does that even mean? If a
Right.
sand beach, each pebble of sand is time. You couldn't count it, and that's eternity. And you can't count it. And your life is a grain of sand. Give it to God. Find someone to love, someone to help you get to heaven,
Mhm.
and go there together.
Right.
And if you date somebody that's not going the direction you are, run away.
Run,
You're
run.
You're not gonna help her. She's not gonna
No.
help you either.
Go out sometime and you sit in a rowboat and you face this way, and the person here in the rowboat faces that way, and everybody start rowing, and you'll be spinning in circles
Everybody
in that
turn
rowboat,
left. Yeah,
and you're not going to go
see
anywhere.
what happens.
Row in the same
Right,
direction.
right.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
row in the
so
same direction.
Relationships are rowing in the same direction.
Right. Look for someone who has the same values. Look
Same
for
value.
someone who has a common goal with you.
Common
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
Same
Obviously,
religion.
you're gonna have to negotiate a little.
Yeah,
There's
I
gonna be-
tried to take him hiking.
That's
I hiked.
that's for some of his buddies. Let's go.
That's
back.
a long
I
story.
hiked once.
Oh, we tried to hike Mount Washington.
Yeah.
That was his first
She
hike.
She practiced hiking for months, hiked everywhere in Connecticut. Me, I'm ready.
He says,
No,
I
right?
walk the stairs
I had to
all
go to
the time.
the
and I'm
doctor
like,
after he gets
no.
cortisone shots. My legs were
He
so
says, honey, I'm gonna go with you. I want to protect
I
you.
wanna
I want to make
protect you."
sure. I want to make sure you're okay. I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
can't come.
on the way back
No,
down the
I'll be
mountain.
fine. I'll be
Just
fine.
leave me here.
Carry
There's
me,
a
honey,
wheel.
carry me.
We thought he was gonna die
Yeah.
right on the trail. I
So-
swear.
So you laugh at the story,
So,
but what
yeah.
is that? That was preparing for the journey, and I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
That was the big lesson. Yeah.
It
The
was
big
a
lesson.
Right.
Everything is a lesson.
But from the beginning, you knew where you wanted to go.
I wanted
that
to
was
know.
A clear one.
I
Yep.
knew.
You
Mhm.
prioritized a relationship with God,
Yep.
someone higher than yourself,
So,
and
yep.
with yourself.
Yep.
And
I was honest.
you looked for. Yep, you were honest.
And
You
I
looked
lived it.
for-
Mhm.
Yes.
She knew what she wanted. She was honest, and she lived it. Now we have friends that maybe didn't start out as succinct as that
Right.
have good relationships because they figured it out together.
Right.
Mhm. And you grow together.
You grow
too.
together, or you grow apart.
You may have a rocky.
Start.
It's like
Mhm.
it could be smooth and then rocky, right? And then smooth again.
Mhm.
You learn from these
Yeah,
mistakes.
the ebbs and flows.
Yeah, you
How-
learn from.
Ups
Yeah.
and
How
downs.
are those rocky times? Like, nowadays people say.
I'll
a
give you one
counselor-
example that's still a blur to me. Okay,
Okay.
I had my first 4 kids in 3 years because I had twins. And we were really struggling financially. He was working the car business, but
You
that's
stopped
a
buying
whole
cars
nother.
from him, huh?
No, there was issues, and I'm not going to go into the issues with the car
60
business.
hours a week. It's tough.
It was like those days
But you
were
did
a
it.
kiss hello,
Yeah.
a
Yep.
kiss goodbye, a kiss hello, a kiss goodbye, and he's gone for 12, 14 hours a day.
Mhm.
And I had 4 little kids. I wasn't working at the time, but actually when I had 4 kids, yes, I was working. I was working as a nurse's aide, night shift, 11 to 7.
Wow.
And I would come home. That's why I said the kiss hello, kiss goodbye. I would
Right,
come
right.
home,
You'd switch
kiss
off.
him goodbye. He would leave, and I would come home. But I needed to sleep. I worked
Mhm.
all night, so I lay on the couch and the kids play, and I would fall asleep. Sometimes a basketball would hit me in the head, but kids.
Right.
So those days were rough,
Right.
and we had very tough time with our relationship. It was rocky at the time because when he's gone all day and I'm gone all night, who cleans the house? Who's in charge of this or
Mhm.
that?
Right.
You know, well, I worked all day. Well, I worked all night. Who does things? You know, and it's tough. And we had to work these issues out. And we did. We worked them out, but it was tough. You know, and anybody would probably run. I don't know.
Well, and
Right,
that's
right.
a lot. I think that's a lot of people's fears
It was
today.
very
You know, people are like, okay,
stressful.
well, what happens? Who's, you know, is one person? One person can't make enough money right now to support a whole household. You
Yeah.
know, let alone children. And who's going to do this if we're both working? And what about daycare? And we can't afford daycare. So
No.
everybody has those fears. You know,
Yeah,
and
it's
so they
hard.
want to know that you can do that. That's the
So
message we want to get people
We
to.
did do that. It was hard.
We did it.
Those
Put your nose
years,
to the grindstone.
those years are blur to me. You know, and it was
But they go
tough,
by
but
fast.
we survived.
They go by fast.
And the best present for he ever gave me was, honey, you don't have to work anymore.
For your anniversary
just-
present,
Yeah.
I want you to go in and quit.
Because
I
he just
left the
got a
car
raise.
business.
He got
I
a
sold
promotion.
my businesses.
Yeah.
I took a job with the government for pennies on a dollar.
Yep. Oh, that was like a hallelujah moment.
Hallelujah
You know,
moment.
because I could stay home.
So
You
now-
did what you had to do.
You know, and we
So-
were homeschooling, and it was just we were already immersed in the.
So the
homeschooling
good
by then.
Lord gave me financial prowess. I lived with my parents till I was 25. I bought this house. I had more money in the bank. I had more money in the bank than I paid for this house. So I always wanted to be able to teach that to my children. So my kids live here for free. I pay for their college. Anything you earn is yours to keep. You can't go on a drinking expedition every week. You want to have a beer, have a year with your buddies. Stay here,
Good rule.
save money. When you're
You like
ready
that
to take a
rule.
wife, it's because you're ready to buy a house. It's
Mhm.
because you're ready to settle down. You know, granted, you can't reduce everything to money, but there's an aspect of it. You want to be pro-life, you have to be able to pay for it.
That's it.
You know,
Basically, if you don't have enough, if you don't have a secure enough job to support a family, you have no business dating.
Yeah.
That's what we teach our
Oh,
kids.
okay. So I like that. I like that because that's also a big fear. People are like, well, I shouldn't have children because I can't support children.
then don't get married.
Don't
But
date.
the catch, yes,
Yeah.
there's the catch.
Then
is
don't
if you
date.
can't, and the same guy I was
Don't date.
sharing that book quote from said the same thing. He says,
Don't
if you're
date.
not making $100,000 a year, you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Don't
You
date.
shouldn't. No.
Mhm.
Or
So have fun.
making
You can
Or
go
go make
out
more
and
money.
have fun with
That's right.
people, but don't even bother, you know, getting married unless you have the means to. It's like a
Uh-huh.
dog chasing a car. What are
Right.
you
What are you
going to
gonna
do
do with
when
the
you
car?
catch up to
Well,
it?
that's I think a lot of people hear that message and they go, okay, don't get married, but I can still date, right? But
No.
it's don't
Don't
get
date.
Don't
Why
pursue a
shop
relationship.
if you have no
Right.
money? You
Right.
can't.
so
It's
don't
window
shop if
shopping.
you can't buy. Yep.
Yeah.
so
It's
you
window
know, like,
shopping at that
so
point.
live home. Okay, I'm never going to make more than
Save,
50,000. So I
save,
lived home and I
yeah.
saved 100.
Right.
And then I went in the market. Let's just say, okay. So
As
I
a
dropped
Pick
my
up your
lottery
winning
ticket.
lottery ticket.
Is
Yep.
the
So-
market, as it were.
So you know, so I
You
tell
don't do that
this.
anyway.
I-
It wasn't a win.
it's not going to win.
It's not the winning ticket.
It's a
Mhm.
prop for our
I'll
discussion.
take that.
Well, if I win, I'll give you $2, double what I paid. So, but the you know, to that end, to the whole, you know, dating end. So you tell me what my generation taught your generation. So you're gonna go out with a girl, enter into a highly emotional relationship,
Mm.
and then you're gonna break up because of one thing or another: religion, finances, end game. Then you're gonna go out with
Or
another
lack
girl.
thereof,
Mhm.
of all.
Then you're going to go out with another girl, enter into a highly emotional relationship. You're going to break up. Finances, religion, some other reason. Along the way, you or her are going to lose their innocence. It's statistically the way it works.
And then you're compromised.
Now you're compromised. Now that girl is going to be out looking for another guy, enter into a highly relationship, emotional, compromise her faith, lose her innocence more. And this dating, as Americans would have it, is going to prepare you for a lifetime commitment to one person till death do you part. Die to yourself to bring up a new generation. That's how we prepare for that. It's ludicrous.
Well,
It's ludicrous.
one of the things
It's not possible.
One of the things you said was, what has your generation passed down to our generation
Nothing.
on relationships, right? And well, there you go. But there's another flaw to that, and that's what I see my generation saying, which is the common victim mindset, the common shun responsibility, right? This is your fault. You didn't teach me anything, right?
Right.
Which
Mhm.
is true to some degree, right? But you still have to take responsibility yourself, right?
Sure you do.
And well, you've been sharing a lot of the ways that responsibility, you can take that responsibility. But
Yeah.
one of the things, oh gosh, it just ran away from me.
No, it didn't.
Um,
Go with it.
I'll go catch it. Yeah.
But one of the things in our
doing it.
generation, what did our generation, where did we fall down, and why are we trying to say it's all our fault and none of yours? You have to take responsibility, your generation too.
Well, sure. Yes.
You have to.
Oh man, I had another quote from a different book that I read that this guy shared his opinion on exactly that.
I'll give you a nice quote.
Go ahead. I'd love to
Okay.
hear it.
So
You're well read.
So yeah, red. I know.
If you only knew.
I got blue on. I don't even have red on.
He doesn't read.
I never read.
You do it for him.
I don't. Yeah, well, it's true. She does read.
Sometimes
books
I
to
read
me.
to him.
So
That's
So,
another story.
this is like a famous quote. What's wrong with my generation, your generation, the generations before me, and the generations after?
Right.
And it started in the Garden of Eden. Eve bit the apple.
Yeah.
And realized, gave it to Adam. Adam bit the apple, and they were naked. And God says, "Who told you we're naked?" And what does Adam do? Talk about demasculization. Talk about it. He says to God,
Shuns the
"The
responsibility.
woman you gave me,
It's her fault. It's your fault. It's not mine.
He blames God.
the woman you gave me,
You
gave me
gave
the
me.
apple to eat, and I did. Not my fault.
Right.
You from my side. You gave me this girl,
Shirk responsibility.
and she gave me an apple, and I ate it. It's your fault, God.
Well,
What
we're
the
we're
heck?
really good at that. Is definitely something we learned from the
And-
past generation.
And
Yeah.
how much have we
Shirking
changed?
responsibilities.
How much have we changed,
Right.
Dad?
Oh, I have a bad relationship because you didn't teach me.
You
how
didn't
to
teach
It's all
me.
your fault.
I come from divorced parents. That's why I'm divorced. No,
You're
I came
divorced
from divorced
because
parents. You saw what they did wrong, and you made a
didn't
vow
learn
to
from
God
it.
you wouldn't
You
do
learn
it.
from it.
You didn't learn
You know?
learn from it. Yeah.
I
You didn't learn
speeded
from
in
it.
my car and I nicked the guardrail. So if I keep speeding in my car, it won't happen again? Of course it'll happen again. I go out with a girl, I enter into a highly emotional relationship. I find out she's godless. She doesn't want kids. She believes in
Oops.
abortion. I break up.
this is
I go
why
out with
you
another
have
girl.
that list
How am I
before
preparing
you start
myself for a
dating.
relationship?
And check off that list before even
Well, that-
thinking of
That
dating.
same gentleman who I was mentioning in the beginning, who said, who is your role model for a relationship, right? Like of all the relationships you want your relationship to be like, that's what I was really shooting for in the beginning.
Mhm.
Who do you want to model your relationship after, right?
The
He
Holy
said the
Family.
same thing.
What
Was
does it look for? Like,
right?
what
He
do you,
said create a list.
what does it look
know
like?
what you want. What
Yes.
exactly?
does the
How
other
do you
person
how do you
look like?
find it? How, like
Are you talking about
You're-
Malcolm's list?
you're
No,
dating,
no.
you're
Oh.
dating, and who does this person actually look like? What are their qualities?
And and then obviously you can't have all 60 qualities you want, so you
Mhm.
narrow down to the
Mhm.
But what is the
Right.
top 10?
right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me,
It's like your bucket list. There's 100 things you want to do,
Yeah.
but you pick the top 5.
Right, you
and
pick
do
the
them.
top ones, and then the others. Well, okay, you could grow together on this part. Okay,
Yes.
for example, like Catholicism. Number one, I don't bend on certain things.
Right. That's your
Want a big
unbreakable,
family? Well,
no-
that's
no
up to
boundaries.
God. You know, I wanted 20, I got 10. Actually 16. We have 6 in heaven. So, but things that I bend on, like I want somebody to hike with, and he doesn't like to hike. So I'm like,
So you go with your children.
No, I do.
Mhm.
So
but I don't mind
we're
buying
lucky.
her hiking boots.
See,
They
he's
compromise.
supportive.
They
That's
compromise.
a
Yes, exactly.
He didn't mind driving to Mount
Mount
Washington,
Washington,
and allow me
And
to hike
driving
with
up
the
to
kids.
pick her up when she was tired.
No, you presumed I was tired. That was the funny part. It's like I got to the top, like I'm here, honey, and like I was gonna walk down too. He goes, well, I'm already here, so get in the car. I'm like, really?
I want to make sure she was okay.
Seriously?
And that's, I
Yeah.
guess that's the biggest quality in a
He said
relationship.
I would have needed an ambulance when I got to the top. So
Yeah,
I was
she just
planning
presumed
ahead.
that I would.
I,
need it.
I wanted the bears to eat me halfway down.
So he already drove up, so I said, whatever.
whatever.
I might as well go.
But the point is see how just like I wanted to make sure she was okay.
Yeah, he's always in protect.
I want to
mode.
make sure she's okay.
Oh, that's your role.
I wanna make
That's
sure
His role is
she's okay.
protect.
Protect.
So
Protect,
if you
you know?
guys become husbands one day, your job is to protect.
Yeah.
You're like he's like the umbrella over the family.
Right.
Okay, he protects all of us, and he does a good job.
So, or
Yeah.
just go out and have
He does a
fun
good
and don't get married.
But be careful how you say that, because a lot of people
I don't mean,
understand that.
well,
misinterpret.
define
have a
fun.
lottery
Yeah.
ticket
I
relationship.
think what he's saying is define
I'd say
fun.
Yeah,
I'd
what
say
do you mean
good
when you
luck.
say
What do you
have
mean fun?
Yeah.
with that?
So in
Yeah.
30 years,
In other words, have fun. Like go out hang with your friends, like as a
Right.
group.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, don't single out anybody until you're prepared to actually get married.
Yeah.
And then you can start wife shopping. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
you know what
It's
I
called
love?
courtship, right?
Relationship,
Well,
relationship
yeah.
shopping.
I
specific.
get
People
I
will
get
find
my I get that from. Have you ever heard of Joshua Harris?
No.
It's a-
Actually, that's
A book
I
called
worked with a guy named Joshua Harris.
Joshua Harris wrote a book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye.
Chaperone dating.
And he was all about honorable courtship.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
Oh,
going,
you want
keep
to talk
going, keep going. I knew it'd
honorable
come back.
courtship? It's not dating just for the fun of it and then date the next person. Yes, if you're ready to
Right.
date.
Mhm.
Okay. I just
Dating
take that
is
to,
dating.
it's technically courtship. When
Dating
you're
is
ready.
courtship.
Right.
And
People aren't
courtship
ready
is an
these
interview.
days.
So,
Yeah.
we all, because in America, we all know how to prepare for a job interview.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not anymore.
Not
Yeah.
yeah, I know. What do you want out of it?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? What do I want?
I
What are
don't
you
know what I
gonna
want to
give
be
me?
paid. I don't know what position I want to
Yeah.
work. I don't know what I want to make. I don't
Yeah.
know where I want to be in 5 years in this job. I don't even know if I want to work this
I don't
job.
know if I
I
want to
just
work
want
here. What's your
money.
benefit package?
This isn't funny.
And that's
Right,
like
right,
dating today, right?
Uh-huh.
Dating.
Right.
I don't know what I want. What's your benefit package you're going to give me?
Yeah.
What
You-
am I
yeah,
going to get
tell
out of
me
this?
What
what
am
you
I
have
going to
to
get out of
offer.
the deal?
Mhm.
So, and it, like someday.
And that's not a mindset of abundance. Either.
So,
That's
no,
not
it's
a
a
mindset of growth.
shallow
It's
and superficial
Shallow.
and selfish, and
selfish and
Self-absorbed.
self-absorbed.
and it also means you're lacking.
lacking in many things.
Yeah.
Someday the two of you, if you go on, the two of you get married. This is what I tell my own kids. I want to, Daniel says, Mr. Duda, I'm really blessed. You're like, wow. Andrew, Mr. Duda, I'm really blessed. I don't want to hear, I got lucky. What the heck
right.
is
Yeah,
that?
I got lucky.
Oh well, and I think there's actually more psychology behind that. Like to say that and believe that, from
Is
my point of
randomness.
view, is what?
I got lucky is randomness.
It is
and
random. It's also self-deprecating.
It is.
It's a lack of
Yeah,
self-belief in yourself. It's
Yeah.
like you didn't think you
I
could
got
do better,
lucky.
so you had to hope you hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I want to just hop
I like
back
your
real quick.
point.
Mhm.
Thank you. I like your directness.
Thank you.
We were talking about
Oh my
the
goodness.
generational pass down, right? And
Yeah.
how a lot of people, there's a lot of truth to both sides, right? Your generation didn't pass down what they could have,
To our
but our
shame.
generation didn't take the responsibility we should have taken, right?
To your shame.
And one of the things that I hear so often, right? I had this beautiful eye-opening point of view shared with me, is you hear the thing of arranged marriages, right? And people from my generation are always like, that's messed up, that's controlling, that's tyrannical, that's all this, right? But I learned this thing the other day that just goes to show that naivety and the immaturity, reasonable immaturity, we're still learning, but the immaturity of my generation, and that's that the real reason arranged marriages existed wasn't to be dominating or tyrannical. It was
Opposite.
to protect. It was to make sure you were set up with the best possible person, so you didn't end up in a relationship with a drug addict or a loser or someone who's broke
Mhm.
or
What are
couldn't
you saying? We
provide.
should bring back the arranged marriages?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying this is one of those examples of the perspective of
Yeah.
everybody from my generation looks back and goes, well, here's one of the ways you guys messed up. It's like, no, it's
No,
not.
it's the opposite.
Exactly.
I'll tell you a wonderful story, and you can interview him someday if you want. I have a close friend of mine, Vilas from
Oh,
India.
Send me his
Vilas.
You
We'll
should.
get it right.
He's
Oh
a
my
cool
gosh.
guy.
So let me
Is he
tell
a
you how
celebrity?
beautiful.
We're looking for.
Celebrity. No, he's not, but
No.
Well, he's about to be one
Oh.
after
He
he
could
comes
be.
on our show,
You
right,
would-
guys?
That's right.
you
yes.
would love Vilas. So
Do you agree? Hit like.
So Vilas
Like-
is Hindu. Vilas believes that you better marry someone your own religion, because then it's seamless. You have your similar beliefs.
Yeah, you're not
Mhm.
fighting more
You're
than
not
you need
fighting.
to. One more thing
Did they
you should
have
disagree
arranged
on.
marriage?
So
Was-
yes.
Was he an arranged
So-
marriage?
Oh, I
Yes.
knew a woman. Yeah.
That's cool.
So this is Vilas's story. I love this. So Vilas is from India. in India, there's a caste system. Brahmin is the highest caste. They're all a priest. The lowest
I
caste
know a lot about this.
is called
Yeah, because he worked
Shadul.
with Vilas. And
The middle,
they talk religion all the time.
the middle Kshatriya. There's all these castes.
Mm.
Yeah.
You don't marry between the castes. Why? Because they have different beliefs. They pray to a different deity. So this is fascinating to me. I'm Catholic, but Vilas believes if you're the same religion, that's what's most important in the same caste.
Mm.
So here's the story with Vilas. Vilas came to this country, went to University of Harvard, got a degree, got a job, and he called up his mom. Hey, I've made it in America. Now I need a bride. So in his
That's
country,
so cool.
in his country, the mom
only
goes
it
through
was
the
that
village.
easy.
Goes through the village. Vilas is my age. He's 63.
And there's what we were talking about earlier, the good relationship with your mother. He calls her up. He says, "Mom, I trust
Hey,
you.
Mom,
Find
I
me a
made it.
woman.
I'm ready.
Find me a
He
good woman."
trusts-
Find me a good wife. So his
That's
mother
pretty cool.
goes through the village and meets with all the women that they all know. Vilas is on the
She
prowl
goes,
for a
"Not you.
wife.
Not you."
Your daughter is
Goes through a
very
line.
pretty,
Yeah.
and she's in our caste, and I see her in the temple. She candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So the mother goes
Sexual
through the
qualities.
village.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
qualities, the qualities of a mother, that's important.
So what did you
So-
pick? The, like,
So what
the last
happens is the
3
mother
or-
picks like 10 girls, and they
Okay.
have a big party. Vilas flew back to India,
Wow.
went to the party, danced with all the girls. Okay,
Oh, so he still
He picked-
chooses.
he picked
Oh.
the one he liked, but it
Yeah.
was the mother's picking.
Okay.
He chose from her universe.
Well, I see.
So
a
what
lot of
she
different things.
approves of, okay, I approve of these 10.
Here's the
Pick
10.
from one of these
I
10.
approve. So then what happens is, but the mother of the girl had already agreed that Vilas would be good for her
Mm.
daughter.
Mhm.
And the mother of Vilas had agreed that she would be good
Hmm.
for her son.
Mm.
So
Right.
Vilas dances and I
Why
pick
can't we
you.
do that anymore?
I pick
That'd be
you.
fun.
They talk.
Here you have
They talk.
choice.
They agree
your
that
choice.
after a couple of days of dating chaperoned, that yes, they tie the knot. They put the tie.
Oh wow.
They go. The parents meet. Yes, we agree. This is the dowry. This is this. This is how we're going to do it. They're betrothed.
Right.
What
Right.
was that? Timeline.
Timeline a month.
Wow.
They're betrothed. Like
But remember, he was ready.
he was ready,
Okay.
and she was
He
ready.
went. He made the nest,
made the nest.
and then got the bird.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Ready.
And he
Yeah.
he didn't just
was an
he
arbitrary.
didn't do it on his own.
No,
He
he prayed to God.
right.
He asked his mom.
He got help from
Advice.
the wise,
Advice.
from the
wise, yeah.
wise, the
You know,
knowledgeable. Yeah.
And then he has a
from the
wonderful.
101 right
Just
here.
from their elders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, not just an elder, right? Someone he has a good
His
relationship
mom.
with, and someone he looks up to.
In
Mhm.
his culture, they even go one step more. So his wife's name is Radhika. That wasn't her name given by her parents.
Mm-hmm.
When you marry in his caste, the husband gives the wife a name that's the name he gives her.
Oh.
And it's
Wow.
out of great love and reverence that they give him a name. Now, when Radhika sees her parents still call her whatever her name is. I don't know.
Right.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know
Remember.
that.
But it's an act of reverence. So not only is the arranged marriage, she's not a victim. She
Right.
wasn't sold at the slave market.
Mm.
Right.
She was reverently
She was hand chosen
Yeah.
by another woman.
by another woman for her son, and the woman from the village. And now, there's no way you're going to tell me that they weren't rowing in the same direction from day one. No way. And they row in the same direction. It's a beautiful wedding. I've seen their video. Their weddings there are like 3 days and beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Now
and the
don't go
thing-
Hindu now.
Yeah, yeah, right. You know, so-
I don't have to though,
Stay
because
in
you
the
know,
course.
Cool
interestingly enough,
people.
a lot of those are similar, like almost biological truths. Like in general, women want a man who has options of other women, right?
Yeah.
All those 10 women
Yeah.
wanted to be chosen to be with a successful guy,
Straight.
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
That's how they
It's
were.
attractive.
And that's that exactly, and that's a typical biological response. You don't
Yeah.
even have to be Hindu for it to work out that way.
Yeah.
If you're a guy doing the right thing and you're
Mhm.
successful,
Mhm.
you're gonna have options as a woman,
Right.
and they want to be with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
Now, if they were handpicked by your mother or not, that's a different question. You might
That's a
be Hindu
different
for that,
story.
Right,
But
right.
but if you think about the recipe, it's not that different than the recipe I outline in
Right.
relationships.
For
Pick
your
God.
children, you mean?
Make a list for
Mm-hmm.
a wife. Live with your list.
Right.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Whatever
And
the
which
list is.
which points are you willing to live with?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this
Yeah.
person
And they have
meets
to- it
this,
has to be
this, and this
reasonable.
criteria, but this, we can work with that.
Right.
Right,
You
right,
know?
It has to be
Or I'm
reasonable.
willing to live
Everybody's
with
got
Well,
something.
let's
Maybe they have quirks
let's wrap up.
Okay.
Any
Yeah.
last thoughts that you guys have, or
this. Do you have any last
wanna
questions?
share
Don't
With-
jump us to the gun here. Come on.
share with anybody else? Last final points. You got a lot of good.
We have points today?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Where have you been, John?
Oh my god.
Well,
I
let's
can't
check
wait
out
to watch
my
the
list.
tape now.
Okay.
What
so
do you
have
think
any
the most important part of your relationship has been looking back these 36 years? Why have you guys stuck together so successfully like glue?
The family rosary. That's the glue.
Something
think-
so united around
The family
Prayer,
a higher
rosary.
belief, prayer, God.
Even
Yes.
if we've had like arguments, and like sometimes we've had some knockdown,
Oh,
drag out arguments.
There's times she didn't like me.
Yeah,
Wow.
true.
She still loved me.
I do love him,
Right.
but I just won't be speaking to him right now.
But
Just
I
for
need my
Day
space.
or two.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
But
And-
the family rosary
I don't
has to
love
happen.
you, but I'm in love
Mhm.
with you. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Right.
But
So-
the family rosary is the glue.
Right.
Our family. And I insist, because you know how you're like with your kids, pick your battles. I choose this one, and it's the family rosary. And we have to say that every night. And that changes. That
Right.
changed us. I
Well, that's a
think.
big message. Your entire family and your relationship was centralized around God, which
Yep.
made it so successful.
I believe
Right.
that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's
Well,
end with a
that's
prayer.
great.
That was the
In the name of the
Oh yeah,
Father,
that's
Son,
great.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
And the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Thank you for coming into my home.
Thank
Hold,
you.
hold on.
Thank you for
Wait,
coming into
wait.
my
We
home.
can't forget one piece of advice, different piece from each person that you want to share with people. It could be about relationships, it can be about anything you want. One piece of advice to
Piece of
share with
advice.
people in general. Right? Remember, you're talking to everybody here. You're talking to people of all different beliefs, all
Okay.
different life experiences. What would you share? with
You go
people?
first.
Don't waste your money on lottery tickets, and don't date girls that don't have your same belief structure.
Bingo.
Right? Bingo. all I can think of is It's a Wonderful Life. He goes, I wish I had $1 million. Hot dog.
Hot dog.
What would you say?
On relationships?
No, anything. you
Anything.
want. What would you tell people right now in the world if you could
Don't
tell
take any
people in
wooden
the world-
nickels. I mean, pick something.
I don't have any.
You're broadcasting to the entire world right now
No.
to share
Hey, I
some little
feel like-
piece
Ask,
of
I'm
knowledge.
better at
Honestly, I
answering
feel like you
questions.
just-
I can't just come up
I
with
know. I feel
Take a
like you
deep
just
breath and
said
just say
it.
something.
what.
Rosary.
Yeah, that was my advice. I don't have any more.
You have
The
loads of
rosary.
advice. Come on. Come on.
Family
Get out of
rosary.
here.
That was my advice.
Hey, thank you for bringing us into your home and having
Thank
this
you for
this
coming. It's been
being on our
Yeah.
show.
Maybe you can
Our
glean
show.
something. Maybe somebody will go, "Wow, Mr. Duda
You
isn't
just let
that
people-
smart. He's just simply
Realistic.
realistic.
You've already knocked people off their
The
feet.
guy's
Come
not
on.
a genius. He's just simply realistic."
She knocked your socks off and you knocked people off your
That's
feet.
it.
What do you know?
Yeah.
Hey, from all of us here at the Hype Mind, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this. Peace.
Have a good one. Peace.